What's good, people? It is Tony the Savant. And in a classic NFC North matchup between my Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions, it did not disappoint. This was a back and forth affair, a shootout. And you never know how these division rivalry games are going to go. But this was probably one of the best games of the season as the Detroit Lions were able to escape with a victory over my Green Bay Packers 34-31. And all of the stars showed up, man. All of the names for both teams showed up. Both defenses were a bit short-handed, so we did get a lot of points this game. And I just got to say, man, the Detroit Lions, they're making me a believer week in and week out. And this has been going on for about 2.5 seasons now. I'm starting to believe that the Detroit Lions should be the Super Bowl favorites. But ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, please like the video, share the video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel as I drop content daily, go live daily, stay very busy on the platform. And last but not least, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section as I'm always intrigued to hear what you all have to say about these topics. And ladies and sports fans and gentlemen, again, we are covering the game between my Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions, where in which these pesky Detroit Lions just keep finding ways. And I am very impressed with this team, man. They are very impressive, from the head coach to these guys like Tim Patrick and Jameson Williams, the not so known guys, putting in work as well, putting up touchdowns and big numbers respectfully. The Detroit Lions have been very, very impressive. And at first I was a bit of a hater on it because they ended the Aaron Rodgers era in 2022, was that, or 2021, one of the two. They ended the Aaron Rodgers era. The Detroit Lions did, sent him on his way. His last game as a Green Bay Packer was a defeat to these pesky Lions. And now we are a couple years in the future of that moment, and the Detroit Lions are still rolling. This was the second meeting of the season between my Green Bay Packers and these Detroit Lions, and they beat us again. I thought that we would be able to catch them this time around. Especially with their defense being down 13 players, I believe 9 starters. And I thought we would be able to get a victory. But just a caveat, we are down a number of starters as well on our defense, namely Jair Alexander, the leader of our secondary. It's a number of guys in our secondary that are injured. And that's the strength of our defense. I do want to say, if you want to see a moment in this season where the Green Bay Packers were at full strength, just about at full strength, because it's very difficult to keep everybody healthy in the duration of an NFL season. But if you want to see what we look like at full strength, close to it anyway, please see the game between the Green Bay Packers and Houston Texans earlier this season, where we pretty much initiated the sophomore slump for the very talented C.J. Stroud. So that's what I was thinking of when the Detroit Lions was just tearing us a new one. The Detroit Lions this game converted a number of fourth downs that ended up giving them the victory. But as you can see in the title of this video, I'm going to be covering 5 takeaways that I had from this game, as it took me a little while to get this video cooked up. This was a good game, man. I watched it twice. Excuse me. I watched the game twice. And as a Packers fan, yes, it was difficult to see my team lose. But again, in my opinion, this is one of the top games of the season, probably being in the race for top 5 games this season. And it was just a number of things. This was a good chess match between teams. And what I've noticed first and foremost is Coach Dan Campbell is the truth. This guy is a football coach. He is very aggressive, and I think that he is receiving the adulation that you get when you gamble. There's a risk and a reward factor to gambling. He's getting the adulation of what you receive when things go right, as he has been rewarded as one of the best coaches in the in the NFL, taking the Detroit Lions from a laughing stock to a formidable Super Bowl contender. And this has all been he's been very consistent, aggressive, utilizing his entire offense and defense, guys that we didn't even know getting their time and their moment. That's why I believe that their next up system has been very good for them, because these guys really believe in Dan Campbell. And so, just a couple takeaways that I had from this game. Number one, it was a game where it was a back and forth, a pure shootout, and it was going to be one of those games that came down to whoever had the ball last. And I started getting that feeling around the beginning, midpoint of the third quarter. Because we were scoring touchdown, they would score a touchdown, we would score a field goal, they would get a field goal, and it was just one of those games where uh, how I felt about it when I seen that they had the ball. The Detroit Lions had the ball with about 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. It was a little bit more than that, but when I seen that they had the ball in the last possession, I had butterflies in my stomach, because truly I felt like this game was going to come down to who had the ball last. The Lions were just moving the chains. They got into field goal range on their last drive. And we really solidified the deal was David Montgomery's 7-yard run on a fourth down. Again, I think I mentioned it, but the Detroit Lions were 4 or 5 on fourth downs, which we'll talk about a little bit more further later. But this was the game-winning fourth down conversion, as it pretty much ensured time would be ran out and the Detroit Lions would have an opportunity to win the game on a field goal, which is what they did. With this young rookie, Jake Bates, he's been very impressive as well. Just another guy on this list that stepped up, and he's a rookie, but has stepped up in the Detroit Lions overall system and has been a great contributor. This was his third game-winning field goal of the season, and I just want to tilt my hat to that young man. Really been doing his thing this season. Number two, my second takeaway from this game was the fourth down conversions, as we mentioned before. It wasn't just that beautiful run from David Montgomery, known as Knuckles. Him and Jahmyr Gibbs have a nice, cool thing going on, the Sonic and Knuckles combo. It wasn't just that run from him, and on the last drive of the game, the Lions also scored twice on fourth downs, which they did as well in the last game a month ago when we faced them. 2 fourth down conversions that led to touchdowns. Jared Goff, like I said, just another guy on this list, on this team, on this roster that I'm impressed with. I've always believed in Jared Goff, even back in his Rams days. It seems like 100 years ago now when he played for that guy Fisher. Can't remember his first name, but Fisher he had everybody thinking that Jared Goff was a bust his first year or two in the league. But from that point, he got coached by Sean McVay. I don't know if people remember, but Detroit Lions have not the Detroit Lions, excuse me, the Jared Goff, when he was with the Rams, they made a Super Bowl. So it just showed then how talented he was. He also had a good classic game during his time with the Rams versus Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I remember that game, like it was yesterday. That game was a good shootout. In fact, it makes me think now that Jared Goff has been in a number of these shootouts where he got to put up a touchdown, other guys putting up a touchdown, he put up a touchdown. So I've always believed in Jared Goff, man. Hey, he's a good quarterback, and really getting an opportunity to showcase what he can do with the Detroit Lions. But he did have 2 touchdown passes, 3 overall in the game, but 2 of them came on fourth down conversions, one to Jahmyr Gibbs, another to Tim Patrick. Jared Goff and Tim. Oh no, I said that. Sorry, guys. The Lions were 4 and 5 on fourth downs, 11 and 20 on third downs, and my Packers were 1 of 5 on third down. So this was a very key element of the game, as we couldn't sustain drives, and we started off pretty slow. respectfully. My third takeaway from this game, we had another big regret on the last drive, and it just made my stomach drop when I seen this play. Christian Watson runs into a defender on our last drive of the game, takes us back 10 yards. We're out of field goal range. And that was pretty much a done data for that. But we needed a touchdown on that last drive. I felt like we had a number of big plays. Christian Watson made a number of big plays. I think he had 114 yards this game on 4 catches. But that last play, the pass interference on Christian Watson, pretty much sealed the deal for us. And I would just say this: we've had some bad losses. Only 4 losses on the season, right, for the Green Bay Packers, but some bad losses on these kind of ugly plays. But anyway, yeah, he ran into the defender, and that was all she wrote. My fourth takeaway from this is kind of segues off of that is the slow start that we had as well. Christian Watson made a mistake in the beginning of the game on our third drive. I think it was our third or fourth drive of the game where he caught a ball. Jordan Love gave him a beautiful pass, got a 20-yard gain, and then fumbled the ball, ladies and gentlemen. And that was just another contributor to the slow start we had as the Detroit Lions were able to convert that turnover into a field goal that gave them a 2 possession lead at 10-0 going into that. What I didn't know. I think we scored before halftime, but they gave them a 10-0 lead at that point in the game. Also, just want to mention, kudos to my Packers. That was the third turnover. Excuse me, that was the first turnover that we've had in 3 games. So we've been very good with taking care of the football, but again, in the moment where and especially in a game like this, maybe against the Dolphins, you can afford that kind of turnover, but in a game going up against your rivals, I've said this before, the Detroit Lions, they know us, they know our playbook, they know our personnel, they know us very well, just as much as we know them and their personnel. So, when you're going up against a division rival like this, you almost need to play mistake-free football. This is how the NFL works. It's beautiful how the NFL, the cohesiveness of it. But when it especially comes to the division rivalry games, you have to play mistake-free football because it always comes down to just a few, maybe 3, 4, max 5 plays that swings the game. And that was one of these kind of games. We only lost by 3, but at the same time, just a few key plays that stunted our ability to win. Also, we started off slow with our first 2 possessions for sure, punting the ball, which was a very heartbreaking thing. I think the Detroit Lions, I think on their first drive, they opened up the game with a 7-0 with a touchdown. David Montgomery, I believe, he started off the game with a touchdown. So starting off with 2 punts, that was just detrimental to the game plan. But eventually we started getting on the board. It was just a matter, in my opinion, that those first few drives, if we started off high, at least got a field goal in there or something like that, then our opportunity to win, the window for a win probably would have been a little bit wider at the end of the game. And last but not least, my fifth takeaway from this game, my Green Bay Packers are now playing for a wild card officially spot. As it looks that the NFC North Division is going to be out of range. It all kind of depends on how these last 4 games go. We're only 3 games behind the Detroit Lions, and of course, the Detroit Lions have the game tie, the tiebreaker in the event that we have the same record with them. But with the Vikings 10-2, they're rolling. The Detroit Lions now 12-1, and we are now sitting at 9-4. It looks like we will be competing and for one of those wild card spots. So this was a kind of like the boat that we were in last season. Respectfully, it wasn't uh, all glitz and glamour last season for the Green Bay Packers, but we were able to get the last spot, the 7th seed in the playoffs. We went into Dallas. The rest is history. So there's still an opportunity for us to get in there. I'm not panicking. I'm not telling Packer Nation to hit the panic button, excuse me, or anything like that. But as of the playoff picture right now, a week or two ago, we were in a much better position, of course, but now it looks as if we will be competing amongst uh, those other teams, which I feel like out of the wild card teams, we're probably the best team, as far as uh, who may be in the mix. I can't recall the Eagles, the Buccaneers, I believe they're in the mix as well. So I'm just trying to think of a couple teams that that are in the wild card race as well. But if you're talking about the wild card teams, we will probably be the best one in the mix, and we'll see what we can do next. As far as getting our getting our playoff spot locked up. At the Detroit Lions, speaking of, they locked up the number 1 seed with this victory as well. So um, NFC North is still up for grabs for another week, maybe. To seeing how things pan out next week. The Detroit Lions have a very tough matchup versus the very hot Buffalo Bills. So we'll get a matchup of the two hottest teams in the NFL right now, respectfully to to Kansas City Chiefs, who have been winning as well. It's just Kansas City Chiefs have been they haven't really been dominant in their wins, but we're talking about the Detroit Lions and the Buffalo Bills, the creme de la creme of both the AFC and the NFC right now. So we'll see, man. It'll be a clash between those two teams. As my Green Bay Packers, we go up against the NFC West leading Seattle Seahawks, who have been a surprise this season as well. So, and those games are very crucial to the not just the playoff picture but also to how the NFC North division will finalize. So I'll be keeping an eye out for that stuff, keeping everybody updated. Thank y'all for the love and support. That's all I got for you on this one. Please like the video, share the. Well, should we hit the stats? Do we need to hit the stats? Nah, we don't have to hit the stats, man. 'Cause I feel like I was took a little time with this video anyway. And at this point, I'm sure everybody knows how the game went. But just for a highlight, Jared Goff had 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jordan Love, he threw for a touchdown, about 200 or something yards. Josh Jacobs, this game, his second game with 3 touchdowns. Also, the second game with 3 touchdowns this season, both of which have been a career high for him. Again, Christian Watson had 114 yards, 4 catches. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he got on the board. I believe he had a touchdown. I know he made a very crucial play on the last drive, a 16-yard reception. So, he's been a little quiet this season, to be honest. And the Lions have still been able to be dominant. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, they both combined for 2 touchdowns. I think it was 157 total yards scrimmage between both of those two, the Sonic and Knuckles combination. Um, yeah, that's all I can think of. Jared Goff threw the interception, which was a nice pickoff. I can't recall. I think it was number 25 Forrest Nixon. He had a nice pickoff because Jared Goff did not see it. And then Jordan Love was sacked one time in the game as well. So just overall, that was pretty much the stats. And then we also went over how many the Detroit Lions converted 4 or 5 of their 4th downs, which was a very, very key element to this game, respectfully. So, but that's all really the highlights I can think of off the top of my head. But it was a great game. Hopefully, we see these guys again in the playoffs, and we're able to knock them off then, because we went 2-0 in the regular season. They got the bragging rights for the regular season this season, but we can. We're still in the mix. We can still get them out of there, much like we did the Dallas Cowboys last year. So that's all I got for y'all on this one. Please like the video, share the video, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm dropping content and going live on the channel as well. If you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. As I drop content daily, go live daily, stay very busy on the platform. And last but not least, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. as I'm always interested to hear what you all have to say about these topics. I am Tony the Savant. Thank you for the love and support. Peace.